thoroughly enjoyed my trip to Nebraska. So, anybody see any good movies lately?
No, not really, no.
Oh. Read any good books?
No.
No.
Nope. Anything new with corn?
Oh, yeah, corn.
Corn,
you
yeah,
betcha.
corn, you bet.
Corn, yeah.
Corn is always...
Come a-running, boys, don't you hear the noise? Like the thunder in the sky. How it rolls along in a good old song from the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're about to win, and we're going to win today. In the days of old, Johnny Vanderbold would just take that ball in hand, and with Benedict right in front of him, they would set sail for the land. Then Doc Eager too, with a chosen few, would be all round everywhere. And before they'd quit, they would calmly sit down behind that goalpost there. For Nebraska and the Scarlet, for Nebraska and the Cream, though they come through many battles, our colors still are seen. And so in contest and in victory, we will wave them for the team. And we'll always stir a cornhusker, the Scarlet and the Cream.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Hold on. Good. All right. Hold on a sec. Getting some feedback here. Okay. Hold on a second. We're getting a little bit of feedback. You're muted. All right. Okay, I think we're still on. So I think I need to leave the studio.
Yeah, just leave.
All right. Sorry, we tried something new. It didn't work. We're trying just again a few different things. So anyways, thanks for letting us know you can hear us. I muted the mic to try to get the kickback to stop. We figured it out. We're good to go. Anyways, so again, excited to be back. Great game. Defensively was amazing. We were able to do some things that we haven't done in a long time.
Yeah, you know, I mean, what do you mean? But put 5 balls on the ground and still win the game by 17 points.
Exactly.
Yeah,
We also held our opponent under 200 yards.
yeah, that's pretty insane.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
And they had more rushing yards than we're averaging giving up.
Yeah.
But it was about 50-50 on passing yards and rushing yards for them. But if you can limit them to that, that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, the one, we really only gave up 7 points on defense. I mean, obviously we can get into that a little later, but
yeah. Well, you contribute some of that to, again, your turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have 5 fumbles and you lose 4 of them, or 6, whatever it was.
And you lose 5 of them, whatever. I mean, when you fumble on the first play of the game, that again, yet again, you said we did some things that we don't normally do or that we haven't done in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Turn the ball over again on the first play of the game and still come out with a victory. And in that, last week, we turned the ball over on the first play of the game. We held them to 3. This week, we turned the ball over on the first play of the game, and we hold them to nothing, and we actually got better field position out of it off of a missed field goal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we had started off rocky, of course, with the turnovers, but then we have a great drive where we go downfield and put 7 on the board. But we had like 13 plays or 15 plays during that drive.
Yeah, it was one of the longest.
I think it was like a 93-yard drive, maybe.
It was like a 15 play, yeah, something like that chewed up like, I don't know, 8 minutes or something. Yeah, we haven't done that really either.
We've done
especially with 3 new offensive linemen.
Yeah, we've done it one other time this year where we did that type of a drive downfield and took a lot of clock off and scored, and not just field goal. So again, we put the ball in the end zone on that drive, and then right after that, our very next drive, we do that drop back fake handoff.
The belly G option pass.
The belly G option pass, and he comes back and he just bombs it to Lloyd.
Yeah.
And Lloyd's wide open, and that was his second career reception, and first touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, you go back-to-back weeks with true freshman wide receivers that are one from Lincoln, one from Omaha.
Yeah.
For long touchdown passes. That's what people want to see.
It was amazing. I mean, that was I was up like jumping around like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I woke my wife up. She was laying down taking a nap, and I woke her up. I was just jumping up and down. And, like, my kids started going nuts, and like, Dad, I'm like, it was just that play that got me out of my seat, and that's the excitement that these freshmen.
Right.
I mean, not just our receivers. I mean, we got Coleman, we got Lloyd, we got Doss. I mean, we have some pretty darn good wide receivers who did not start the year and they were playing yesterday. Billy Kemp's out. We know Washington's out. Garcia Castaneda's out. All those guys are out.
Everybody's out.
And
so yeah,
next man up.
It's their chance to. I mean, gosh, can you imagine for the feelings for those kids? Probably dreaming of playing big time college football. Maybe not like when we were kids thinking about playing for Nebraska. Maybe.
Yeah.
But just scoring a touchdown in front of a stadium like that'd been so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
It was. I mean, it was amazing. It was just really fun to watch. Eliminate all the turnovers, of course. Like, that was not exciting, but outside of the turnovers, our offense wasn't great. I would say they were barely good, but
for some reason they almost seemed a little better with some fresh faces. I mean, guys that made, like Corcoran, who expected big things from him. We've talked about him several times over the years. I don't know, maybe there's too much pressure on him, and these new kids, it's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting my chance. I'm going to prove myself. I mean, it's still a Big Ten game.
Yeah.
I mean, especially not having much experience. We were able to, what I like is seeing Harburg throw those long passes and actually connecting on them. Because he's not the best passer, but you see back-to-back weeks of him throwing along, and yeah, the guy was wide open. It's a well-designed play, I guess, but he was able to hit him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you still have to hit the receiver, and he hit him in stride.
Yeah.
It's not like he's throwing it short. He's overthrowing guys, and that's the only time you see him actually unload and go over the top and not throw a sidearm.
Right.
And again, Harburg, I've heard a lot of good things about him having a cannon, and now he's finally able to show us that cannon in these games when he's throwing these long passes. Again, you got to do it at the right time, but we can still probably do that play 3, 4, 5 times a game, but you have to establish the run as well.
Right.
And we did a pretty good job of establishing the outside run game. We were able to get to the right, to the left, and get outside.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was driving me nuts because, I mean, why are we running the ball up the middle with an inexperienced line as much as we did? I didn't understand that. But when we went outside, hell, Fleeks had a great game.
He's really fast.
He's really fast. He tossed that number 4 about 5 yards when he ran into him. He's about half the size of him. Emmett Johnson, fantastic game. Anthony Grant had a few good carries. Again, it was a full team effort. I still don't think Satterfield is a great offense coordinator, but we made the plays when we had to, and our guys stepped up when they needed to. Even after the turnovers, our offense never gave up.
I agree. I don't think he's the best offensive coordinator, but he'll throw a wrinkle in there, and it'll be like a fantastic play call, and we're like, "Wow, where'd that come from?" But you ran the same play twice in a row on a run where you got 8 yards, and then you run the exact same play again for nothing or 1. I don't really get that, but no, Emmett Johnson had a great game. Iced it with that nice touchdown run, which I thought was a well-designed play.
Well, and not just well-designed, but the blocking was fantastic.
Right, and because that number 4 and number 5 defensive ends or outside linebackers, they were really good for Purdue. They were really good. And I know they kept talking about them, but they were good.
Yeah, and we opened up. So Red Sea. I mean, we just and it was great. Great run, great hole. He made the play, and that's the kind of stuff that you're gonna get. You're gonna get guys fighting even harder when they get that type of success on the offensive line. Casey, you talk about putting the ball on the ground, and there's a lot of stairs in Memorial Stadium, and you're gonna start losing fans and keep putting the ball on the ground. But we're winning too. Again, no, we don't want this to become, we can fumble 5 times a game and we can have special teams mistakes, not only our kickoff return, but then a botched punt return that somehow we came up with the ball that was amazing.
Right.
But we got lucky yesterday on a few plays, but we turned that luck and we actually just didn't give up. And that was one thing I like to see from the team and from these young guys.
Well, we got to flip that narrative of losing.
Yes.
A lot of these guys have been here for years, and they're starting to figure out how to win.
Yes.
And I think that can go a long way. And then you have these young guys, they start feeling that. There are a lot of recruits there yesterday, a couple of big ones.
Yep.
So that definitely helped that we were able to, win by 17 points for one, but just to the defense. I mean, gosh, you see those. You see Princewell and you see Cam Lenhart and those guys. Like, how could you not want to come play here as a defensive recruit?
Yeah.
Like, these guys are freshmen that are playing right away and contributing in a big way.
Yes.
And that's why I think, Caleb Benning did choose to come here.
Yeah.
Because he's going to play DB, and no pun intended for his dad, DB. Yeah. But no, I think that the defense is really excited. I'm nervous that Tony White might get some other opportunities, but hopefully not. In the near future.
Hey, if he keeps playing with the black shirts like this, hopefully they continue to pay him well and he sticks around.
Yeah.
And again, right now we're 5-3, which again with 2016 probably was the last time we were 5-3 after 8 games. So Ross, you have a good point with Satterfield. Yes, for a long time, I'd say probably this is our 9th year doing the show. I'm pretty sure we've complained every year about not running the ball enough.
Yeah.
And now we're running the ball. So you are right about that. We're finally getting what we've been asking for in the run game. And again, I don't like all the runs up the middle with the inexperience on the line, but I do like that we are running the ball more because that has opened up those deeper passes over the last couple of games.
Well, and what was, kind of nice is you do have 3 new offensive linemen playing, or at least 2, because some of those guys have played. But you can mix guys in and out, which I think they maybe did a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can also, you can do different pulls and different reads and move guys in different areas. So you kind of keep them on their toes.
Yep.
So that can definitely help in the run game. And I think it did a little bit yesterday. And we'll see if that continues moving forward.
And that's the interesting thing. And we were talking a little bit before, and Brian mentioned too. It's one of those things where he understands that, yes, he's a new coach, and his MO has been, hey, we're going to get 1 to 2 wins in my first year. So I got 5. And we're not playing with a stellar offense. I mean, that is not something we're dealing with as an offense that's flashy. They're not making a lot of amazing plays.
8 starters from the first game are out. We had 3 starters from game 1, and we're still winning.
And we're still winning
on
games.
offense anyway.
So
it's crazy.
That just is a testament to the kids and how hard they're trying to play, and they're doing that.
How
for
much
their
work
coach.
they put in the off season, and just
every week.
Something that has changed from the last regime, if you will, is development. I saw somebody yesterday. They said, back in the 90s when a guy got hurt, you didn't notice.
Yeah,
the guy that came in behind him was just as good. Or it wasn't like a drastic change.
Mm-hmm.
And you're kind of starting to see that. Like we've had, Singleton goes down on defense. He was one of the best that played, in the first few games of the season, and you haven't really noticed a difference.
Yeah.
And it might not be quite the same on the offensive side, but there's so many guys that have gotten hurt. Running backs, wide receivers, offensive linemen, quarterbacks.
But our offense hasn't gotten worse with the new guys that have come in. So, and yesterday, we put up 31 points.
Yeah.
And I said to someone before the game, on our page, I asked for predictions. This guy said like 30 something to some of the teams. And I said, man, if we score 30 points and win, like that's amazing. If we score 20, and he's like, hey, I believe. And I'm like, I love that you believe that. And I was kind of shocked that we scored 31 points because we just have not seen that. Yes, one was a defensive touchdown, again, which we'll get to here in a minute, or special teams. But that was fun. That was an exciting game to put up that many points, even though you're yelling at the screen every time we fumble.
Yeah, exactly. But my wife says yesterday, so what, like, are we supposed to win? Are we favored to win? I said, yeah, we're favored to win. How good's Purdue? Well, they've won 2 and they've lost 5. Well, so we should win. And I'm like, yeah, theoretically, we should. We're at home and whatever. And like, what do you think like the score's gonna be? And I was on Facebook and I said, well, Adam Carricker's prediction was 14-7.
Yeah.
Oh, is it gonna be like pretty low? Is it gonna be like a pretty ugly game? Like, yeah,
it could be.
But we scored 31 points.
Yeah, well, and I was kind of joking with you guys. We were texting back and forth during the game, and early on, I'm like, shoot, this could be a 6-3 game or a 9-6 game as long as we win. Sure, but it was that ugly early on. And again, those turnovers, the fumbles, putting the ball on the turf. Come on, Snodgrass. For one, you should have fair caught it. You should not be returning that kick. You've never returned a kick, at least not at the college level. And you're running with the ball like this, wide open. That was disaster waiting to happen. Just fair catch it.
Agreed.
And that just wasn't smart. And then Bullock's had a great year. That return, he just let it. He tried to catch it with his chest instead of catching with his arms. And then
couple things there. And I'm not trying to make excuses for anybody, but Billy Kemp is the punt returner. He's returned every punt. He's the most sure-handed guy probably on the team.
Yeah.
And so that was the first punt return that we had somebody else return. And maybe not the first, but it was the first one yesterday. A little cold, a little wet, a little windy.
Yep.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Was it actually wet?
I don't know if it was wet, but
that's what you said.
What's crazy? Sorry, real quick. What's crazy about that was they had like 7 guys in the play, and it was just Bullock, and then somehow Newsome just snuck in behind there and got the ball.
Came out of nowhere. Yeah, and how lucky were we that ball was never possessed? And Dean Blandino, well done, Dean. You did your job. No, and again, I'm glad we reviewed it. I'm glad that they didn't, we didn't get a play. Those kind of things didn't happen. So yeah, that was good. That was a turn of unfortunate events that turned out in our favor.
Right.
That we have not seen in the past.
That doesn't usually go our way. Sorry. Anyway, I interrupted you.
Mike thought shotgun on the 4-yard. You're trying to get me pissed off, aren't you? Shotgun on the 4-yard line. Nothing makes me more upset than running a shotgun when you're inside the 10. You should not be running shotgun
inside the 5.
No.
Let
me speak.
From the 5 to 10, maybe. Inside the 5, no.
When we're a team that likes to run the ball, and we have one of the better rush offenses, especially in the Big Ten, I'd rather see us do under center with a fullback. We do not play our fullbacks enough.
I know.
You can still go under center and do a fake handoff and toss it to your tight end. You can do a rollout. You can do a bootleg. There's so many things you can do under center with a fullback and a running back. And I want to see that more. We're so excited to have fullbacks. We got 2 of them. And I don't even know if they played yesterday. Maybe 1 or 2 snaps. But so, Mike, I don't like it. I'm glad we scored. I'm glad we got that pass off to Fedoni. And he got another TD.
If Harburg doesn't throw sidearm, I mean, I don't think he throws that touchdown pass.
Yeah.
I was like, why are we throwing? And then obviously you're excited about touchdown, so you don't care.
Yes.
But theoretically, it's like, man, we should be a team that can just hand that ball off and punch it in.
Yep.
And you said, as far as Big Ten goes, we're one of the best rush offenses. That's because of long run plays.
Yeah.
But when you need to get up there and get a first down on 3rd and short, 4th and short, or at the goal line, we need to be able to punch that every time.
I said it, I think last week or the week before, do the tush push.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would. Like, again, it's legal. You can push from behind. You can't pull them, but you can push them. If you just need a couple of yards, Casey, 4th and short, absolutely. Get what you need and get it done. So I'm not upset because we scored, of course, but again, I'd much rather see a fullback or some bootleg, something like that to your tight end and get under center, because under center, again, is a little bit less, maybe predictable might be the right word. I feel like when we go in shotgun in that situation, Husker football, you're either doing a QB draw or you're going to
RPO or
you only have a few options.
Or a throw out to Fedoni like we did, something like that. Yeah.
So I feel like they might be able to read that a little bit better. But under center, you got multiple options, especially you got 2 guys behind you. So, anyways, that's just my thoughts on it.
Okay.
Just throw it out there.
No, that's fine.
Some strong feelings about certain things when it comes to football, even though I played very little football.
Right. So, like, Seattle should have rushed Marshawn Lynch instead of throwing.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that.
I agree.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about offense. Talked a lot about the game so far. Not even a half hour, and I'm like shaking with excitement. To me, yesterday, again, it wasn't pretty putting the ball on the ground, but hell, we're 5-3.
Right, and we've lost to Purdue the last 4 of the last 5 years.
Yeah. And guess what? Coach Walters, you don't like that N on the helmet?
You don't like the red?
I bet your guys went home with some N's on their jerseys, on their pants, on their helmets, because we slapped you around yesterday.
Yeah.
And we don't even have a good offense, but our defense smacked you and pushed you back and stopped you from scoring. And
sea of red, baby.
And let me tell you, that first touchdown that they scored, Ty Robinson, he was going to get the quarterback, but he got held like there was no
big
tomorrow.
Time, big time.
They had him on the inside.
He was all over the place. Him and the polar bear, man, they're so good.
Yeah, and the ref was right there. That drove me nuts. But our defense was just amazing again. Tommy Hill had an amazing game. Tommy Hill played his best game since he's been a Husker.
He's much improved this year. He's one of the biggest, most improved players.
I wouldn't even say this year. I'd say in the last 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, I mean, from the start of the year to now.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, I guess the last couple of weeks. He's really stuff. They love him, and I'm like, all right, let's see it. He was really good yesterday.
They need to play him to his strengths. He's not a kick returner.
Right.
He's got a lot of speed. I don't want to see him returning kicks, though, because he's just not one that's going to cover up the ball very well.
Yeah.
He's not a running back. He's not a wide. He could be a wide receiver.
They played him at wide receiver a little bit last year.
They tried something
They
new.
may have even tried him a little bit this year, but no.
I like him on the defensive side of the ball.
And put him in spots that he's going to succeed. And that's what they did yesterday, and that worked.
It was great. I mean, seriously, he played lights out. Our defense in general played lights out. It was just a lot of fun to watch. The defense, they know how to tackle. We've seen defenses in the past. Again, you look at when we had Cam Taylor, we had Dismuke, we had Deontay Williams, we had Ben Stilley. We had some really good guys on that team, Garrett Nelson, but they did a lot of arm tackles. Outside of Doman, Doman's the only guy that really could wrap up really well. Outside of him, though,
we love Doman.
Yes, we do love Doman. But outside of that, the team did a lot of pushing. They did a lot of shoulders. They did a lot of, I'm going to try to push you out of bounds instead of wrap you up. This team, they ball hawks. They're going and they are full speed. They're not stopping and breaking down. They want you to make the move. I'm going to charge you. If you make a move and I slip out of my hands, that's on me. But I'm going to do that because I'm coming at you full speed and I'm not stopping.
Well, and not only that, but there's 2 or 3 of them there
Yes.
every time or more. You know, Purdue, Illinois, you know, Northwestern, some of these teams are, they're not great, but they play Big Ten football, you know, so in scenarios where you might have like a little out to a tight end or something, you know, guys might not be real fast, but we're there right away. Doesn't matter. So when every time Purdue caught a pass within a 10-yard throw, I'm like, this guy's going nowhere.
Yes.
You know, and not necessarily 10 yards from line of scrimmage, but from 10 yards, probably behind the line of scrimmage, they catch the ball right at the line or within 5 yards. I'm like, you're going nowhere. There's 2 or 3 guys there, just boom. And I mean, they could hardly get first downs.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people will say, yeah, well, it was Purdue. Look how many other teams play teams like Purdue that are not very good, and they'll still give up 20-some points. They'll still give up 300-some yards. They'll still give up more. You know,
look at Northwestern against Maryland yesterday.
Yeah, Northwestern beats Maryland,
and their quarterback threw for a bunch of yards, and it's like
Penn State
couldn't do the same thing. Oh, big time.
Penn State struggled in their game.
Big time.
It doesn't matter what the other team's record is. These are still D1 football players. They're not all bad football players. You still have to go out and execute. And our defense did exactly what they needed to do and executed on the defensive side of the ball.
And I think they're going to do it every week.
Win that game.
I think they're going to do it every week. My 7-5 might change to 8-4 pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, again, I think I said 7-5 at the beginning of the year, which still could reign true, but again,
would be fine.
We have every opportunity to win the West. And again, people can say as much as you want about the West. I don't really care because you still have to go out and win your games. And if we do that, if we clean up our fumbles, I mean, we could have put 50+ on the board yesterday if we didn't fumble 4 times, lose 4 fumbles, I should say. So it is within our reach to not only win the West, but it is within our reach to go 9-3. You can call us crazy all you want, but there's no reason why, as a Husker fan, you shouldn't be able to look at the rest of the teams we play and say we can't win every single game.
Well, and another good point that I was going to say a few minutes ago that just kind of circled back was if you saw Deion's press conference yesterday, and I hate talking about Deion so much, but because that's what he wants, but he's talking about like it's the line. We need a new line. Okay. I mean, yeah, you might not be wrong because they do need some different players there, but you know what? Like you were saying, we've had a lot of these same players on our team, especially on defense, that we had last year and the year before. And you know what? Those guys who we thought were pretty good are even better.
Yep.
Because they're being coached better.
They're being
developed.
Now, they are still not great, but they have big strides from last year still.
Yes. I mean,
we're not getting sacked a lot.
We're not giving up 50 points to Georgia Southern like a lot of these guys that were on the field last year in that game did. Now they're giving up 7 points a week.
Yeah.
9 points a week.
Yeah.
Giving up no touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's just.
So sorry, Deion.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, he's mad because his son's getting sacked and getting pressured and getting hit. I get it, but it's not about your son. It's about the team. And when you throw your team under the bus, that's not going to motivate them to do better next week. It's not. And so
you throw your O-line under the bus, your kid's going to get hurt.
And guess what? You got rid of all of the linemen from last year. Yeah, they had 1 win, but you probably still had some solid guys on the line. So now you're
probably had some guys you could develop.
So who do you have to blame but yourself for the guys you brought in to put on the line? And look at your coach.
Yep.
Why are you not blaming your coach for how the line's playing? I'd be in his face if they're not playing up to your standard. Maybe your son should get rid of the ball earlier instead of taking sacks and taking hits. Like,
he's going to take the sack so he doesn't.
He's going to pad those stats.
So he doesn't lose his completion percentage, bro. We know this.
But again, our defense is just. We only had 1 sack yesterday.
Is that it?
Yeah, we had 1 sack. Their offensive line.
Sometimes I wonder if a play is a sack or if it's like like their first play, he dropped the ball and then jumped on it. I mean, isn't that a sack?
Yeah. That might have been the only one.
Really?
Yeah. Again,
I know
we had a lot of pressure.
We were getting pressure, but I was like, man, we really need to start getting some sacks. But we did get a sack. So
Well,
Big Max tomorrow. Let's go.
One thing that he did a really good job of was getting rid of the ball.
Well,
He got rid of the ball when he should have.
He's experienced.
And so he was a smart quarterback, so he didn't take those sacks. Otherwise, we could have had 6-7 sacks yesterday, but
because we had 8 last week.
Our pressure was pretty good. Our D-line got a lot of push, but their offensive line, again, it was not bad.
They're
Their
experienced.
offensive line played pretty well. They're a Big Ten offensive line. They should be. I thought our offensive line played pretty well. Again, we're not talking about a lot of penalties. We're not talking about Bryce Benhart. We're not talking about bad snaps. We're talking about what the team is doing right, because they're doing so many things right. Even though there's things they're getting wrong, they're doing more things right than they are wrong. And I think that is why, again, we quit fumbling. Yes, Ross, we definitely can run the table if we stop putting the ball on the ground.
Yes.
We can't. Even it doesn't matter if Harburg's behind center. It doesn't matter if Purdue's behind center. And Sims, maybe it matters.
should not be behind center another snap this season. I'm sorry. I really like the kid, and I know a lot of people were like crucifying him on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, last night. And I saw people like, man, Husker fans are better than this. But
some are.
He cares about the team. You see him. He's right there to Harburg every time he comes off the field. I've heard he's the players, everybody respects him so much and loves him. But he comes in for one play and he fumbles the ball and they score a touchdown.
Yeah.
We've seen this story before.
We can't do it.
We can't do it again.
He is a leader, though. He is.
Yes.
He's a hell of a.
Like Dalton said, put him as a wideout.
Yeah. Hey, if nothing else, you create a disturbance. Hell, if we can get him on like an end around and he throws the ball, we haven't really seen him throw the ball much this year. And just make sure it's maybe a wheel route or that deep ball to Lloyd or to Malachi.
Or
do
send around that we can block well for him and he can just run. So we know we can run.
I don't mind seeing him in the game. It's just got to be the right play for him at this point. Because right now, I mean, again, I like Sims. Again, great kid. He's doing a lot for that team as a leader on the sideline, cheering up the team and being a supporter of Harburg and the rest of the team. And that's great to see for somebody who gets benched. And so you got to respect that. But I don't want to see him back at quarterback again. I really don't. Could he hit the portal? Mikey asked. Could he hit the portal? He might. I just don't. He's a senior. Is he a grad transfer or a senior?
I think he has 2 years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But if he were to transfer, don't you have to? Can't you only transfer once now?
I think so. Yeah.
So,
Dan, calm down. I'm just throwing out some possibilities. You don't get bent out of shape. I know. I get it. He is a junior. So, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities. Again, I'd rather him be that coach and that mentor and that leader on the sideline than bring him in the game. And if you do, again, make sure it's the right play where he can be successful. I still want to see him be successful, just not at the quarterback position.
Well, it was tough too because he comes in cold.
Yep.
And the problem was it looked just like it did the first 2 games of the season. And so everybody was like, yeah, no. Myself included.
Mm-hmm. And Ross, great point. Again, we talked about the offensive line of Purdue. We did bring 6 guys a lot in that 3-5. We brought 6 guys multiple times and did not get to the quarterback.
Right.
I was extremely impressed with Purdue's offensive line. They did a great job on our defense, but they had to prepare for that defense more than anything else.
And they had more rushing yards than we average. So that there already impresses me.
Jamal Lord 2.0. I've heard so many people say Jamal Lord 2.0, and
Jamal Lord was good though.
But
I feel you.
It's super fast. I was a big fan of Jamal Lord, but again, I cannot get over yesterday. I was on cloud 9, the rest of the day. I think more so the fact that we put up 31 points after putting the ball on the ground 5 times.
Well, and after 2 weeks of barely putting any points up, I mean, winning games, but barely squeaking them out.
Yep.
When we were up 24-0, I'm like, this is a good feeling.
Yep.
And it went 24-14 real quick, and I'm like, here we go.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. It felt different.
It did.
I used to just be like waiting for
something bad to happen.
But we've kind of flipped the script on that to where we're able to pull it out, or we're able to hold on, and before we couldn't.
Yeah.
So, and I know Minnesota game we didn't hold on, but we've changed it since. And Michigan, we get that win back, right? Because they're cheaters.
just
so No, but I think that we've kind of turned the corner of figuring out how to pull games out and finish it out.
We had an undefeated October. First time since like 2001, I
That's
think is what I
pretty
saw.
nuts. That's pretty nuts.
They're learning how to win. You got guys on that team that have not won
Mm-hmm.
in 4 years. And so now they're starting to win games. They're gaining confidence. Alvano, 55-yard field goal. Hell yeah. That could have been
I was going to say, we haven't even talked about that. I've been waiting to drop that.
That could have been a 65-yard field goal. I mean, he kicked a bomb. And again, confidence. Coach has never lost confidence in Alvano. He knows what he can do. And again, the players talk about process. And even Robinson said, win or lose, that next practice are in the same process. We're doing the same things. We're not doing anything we haven't done before. And that's why they're all bought into Rule, because he keeps things consistent and likes to keep that process moving forward because he believes in it so much. It's also worked for him. So that's what these guys are buying into. And so when you have that type of buy-in from the team, and now you're gaining confidence because guess what? He's not giving up on it. Win or lose, he's not going to give up because he knows that there's a lot of learning to still happen. Whether you're a fifth-year guy or you're a first-year guy, you have to be able to just continue to learn. And so he is bought into his own process, and the guys are bought in.
Well, and what I like most about him is, Alvano hasn't been great. He's a true freshman.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it. Remember that 50-yard field goal you made when Class A state championship last year at Memorial Stadium? And just picture no fans behind the goalpost because you only had fans on the east and west sidelines.
Yeah.
Just picture that. But the fact that they still trust him to the point where they can put him in for a 50-yarder on a cold, windy day, and he makes it. I love that.
Talk about a confidence boost. I mean, he's had a few rough kicks, but you're talking about a freshman.
Yeah.
You remember the Colorado game? Alex Henry, 57-yard field goal.
Yes, I do.
At that 57-yarder was that was the longest kick in college football at that point. And now guys are kicking 55-yarders with ease.
Yeah.
60 yards.
Favorite
memory. That's something that he just did. He looked like he did it with ease. And so we're starting to see his confidence build, which is also, again, just amazing to see.
Yeah, agree with you, Ross. How about Rule having the team semi parked out in front of freaking Logan? Was it Logan Magnolia? I think it's Logan, Iowa, but for Grant Briggs. He was there yesterday, and so, they were all there. Carter Nelson was there, David Caitlin was there. I think Isaiah McMorris and Monte Hall were there. All those guys were there, some of them anyway, and they were with Briggs.
Yeah. Well, and
that's huge.
And that semi's been around. It's been at a couple different schools now. Talk about a different way to recruit. Hey, we're gonna park our big ass semi outside of your high school. How cool is that? I haven't seen anyone else do that. That's pretty cool.
That's badass.
So Casey, you talk about your blood pressure going up.
Big time.
Yeah, again, 24-14. I think a lot of people are kind of sweating, oh my gosh, what's happening? But again, I felt like that was a very decisive win. I never felt we were going to lose that game. I never did. I thought that we were in control the entire game, offensively, defensively, even with those turnovers. I still felt like there was no chance we were going to lose that game because of how well our defense was playing, and our offense was playing good enough, even with the turnovers, to move the ball and win that game.
Well, and when I didn't really feel that way either. When we fumble in the first play of the game, on the kickoff,
yes,
and we hold them to nothing.
I thought we were right then. I'm like, we're losing.
I'm like, no. Once we stopped them, I'm like, if we can move the ball, there's no way. And, after 2 or 3 drives of theirs, I'm like, there's no way they're gonna be able to put up enough points to win.
But again, on that kickoff, as soon as he fumbled it, I'm like, oh shit, here we go. I just right away, my heart just sunk. Are we really going to lose to Purdue? This cannot happen. I was so upset. But again, then you stop them. It's all right, I feel good now. And then hey, we get a long drive. Then hey, we get a 1-play 73-yard bomb to Lloyd for his first touch. Oh man, that play just got me so hyped. Jaden Doss had a couple great catches.
Oh, big time. And he had a drop too. He had one drop that I'm like,
it was a good pass.
Yeah, and it was the guy might have gotten a hand in or maybe kind of got him a little bit
He
before?
was holding his right arm down.
Because it went through his hands,
Yeah.
but he may have.
It went through his left hand.
Okay.
His other hand was being held, so he's
I
right
thought
here.
maybe he could have had it, but either way.
The guy's hand was like in the crook of his elbow. Like, it was great defense. I mean, it really was. But again, a lot of people thought that was a drop. I'm like, it's hard to get your other hand when you're getting held. Like,
Especially when you're a freshman. But
man, he has some great catches. I'm excited about Doss. I'm excited about Lloyd. I'm excited about Malachi Coleman. Like, we have some offensive studs that are just now getting released into the wild, and they just, again, special teams. Look at how our special teams plays when we go down on the punt. For one, Bushini had like 41-yard average yesterday.
he had one bad punt. But I want to say it ended up bouncing in our favor, and it went like 15 more
Well,
yards.
like inside the 30, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about a blocked field goal for a touchdown. I mean, how often does that happen?
So,
Not very much for us.
so here's the thing. I didn't see the replay. Someone said hit off the back of the helmet instead of getting blocked.
I thought I got blocked.
I don't know. I'd
watch
have
it
to
again.
look again, but
All I really wanted to see was Tommy Hill high-fiving Quentin Newsom as they were running down the sideline for a touchdown.
all I saw was that ball go up in the air. And at first I thought, okay, it got blocked. At first I thought he pushed it just way right. And then I realized it's up in the air, and I see our guys going to catch it. I'm like, oh, shit, like, what's he going to do? And Newsom just, all the way down, him and Hill high-fiving from the 10-yard line. I'm glad we didn't get a penalty for that, but that was one of the best parts of the game was that part, just when they started high-fiving. That was just amazing.
I've never said I had no
Kicker.
Tim.
I maybe said that he was a true freshman. He wasn't very good, but he made a 55-yarder, right?
Yes. But again, that play, again, it's a rare thing to not only just block a field goal. In college football, it does not happen often, but not just a block, but then you're taking it back for a touchdown. That is a rare thing. I think they said last time was 2014?
I think so.
Which again, still pretty rare. I think last year we had like 3 punt blocks last year, maybe 3 or 4. We had a handful of punt blocks last year. We almost got to one yesterday.
Oh, big time.
Almost.
I thought we had it.
And I'm glad we didn't hit the kicker either. But again, that was exciting too. Between that and then the 73-yard touchdown, those two plays were just talk about a dagger to Purdue, but also just got you so hyped.
Oh, big time.
2014 Minnesota was our last block. Yeah, there you go for a touchdown. Sweet. Good to know. Thanks, Casey. Okay. Cool. Yeah, man, it was just fun. Again, I told you guys before this show, I'm like, I'm so psyched to do this because I'm still so excited about yesterday. And again, maybe it's because we're 1 win away from going to a bowl, but we also have the opportunity to win the West. And if we get one more win,
we don't need just one more.
But when we get one more win, Jim, when we get one more win, we're going to Stone Cold Steve Austin these beers.
Oh, I forgot about
and
that.
And we got to make sure we got an extra shirt and probably pants because or maybe we'll do it at the end of the show.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cold as
get
hell.
Another sweatshirt, another hat, maybe more shirts.
It's going to be cold because we're going to be outside. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't do that in the basement. We'd probably do that on the deck or something. But
no. So again, I'm excited just because there's so much upside right now to Nebraska football, not just this year, but again, these young guys that are coming in and playing and getting their first starts or their second starts. Again, Teddy came in and played. And Teddy's the 2 games that he's played 2 games, he got hurt both games. So back years. So now he comes in, exciting to see him on the field and get some playing time. Teddy's huge. He's a good player. We need him consistently playing. And now he's back on the line. I love seeing that as well.
On the line, yes.
On the line.
Yeah.
We need Minnesota to lose.
If we do need Minnesota to lose, one thing I was going to say too was there was a couple of 2025 prospects at the game yesterday. One of them is a 5-star offensive tackle from Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas or outside of Vegas, whatever. Yeah. It was a surprise visit. He's got offers from like all the SEC schools and USC and everybody, and just kind of snuck under the radar and came into the game yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was with all those guys too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously you're younger than them, but, building that camaraderie and hopefully. And then one of his teammates, who's a linebacker, he Yeah.
Yeah. All it really takes right now in recruiting, you got to build those relationships. But if you get these guys that are all being recruited in the same class or even a year ahead, you have a 2024
Mhm.
guy and a 2025 guy. And hey, I've committed to Nebraska. I'm talking to that 2025 guy now. And I'm telling him what I'm excited about, what I look forward to seeing, and why he should commit. You build that camaraderie and that relationship as high school kids before you go to the school. That is only going to help you tremendously in the recruiting game, because guess what? Now those recruits are recruiting as well.
Mhm.
It's not just the coaches. Now you got recruits recruiting other kids to come and play.
And then,
same school.
they're thinking about what they want to do the next year. They've been to a few places and,
Yep.
they start texting, maybe a group text or whatever
Yeah.
and say, hey, like, what's it like so far freshman year? And like, oh man, like we're going to be really good. Like some of us are already seeing the field.
Yeah.
We might be able to see the field right away.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we're moving in the right direction and we're going to be pretty good in a couple of years. And that's how you bring those guys in.
And that's what I think, again, we've talked about the young guys. That's what I think I'm loving more than anything right now is just the energy from those young kids. The excitement level from the young kids that we haven't seen in a long time. We've seen a lot of excitement, but not like, again, special teams guys. They might only be playing special teams. They get down there and make a tackle, and the guy didn't get any yards. We had on one of the punt returns, he caught it, and we tackled him right away.
Oh, yeah. I
mean,
know exactly which one you're talking about.
The guys jumping up and down, the excitement from that team. A lot of them are young guys. That's what you want to see from these young guys is that energy, and they bring it every game.
Well, and you see somebody like a Phelan Sanford.
He was the guy that was on the special teams making that tackle.
And now you see him on the defensive side
I
of
think
the
he's
ball.
a jack, maybe.
Like he's a starter.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he started or not because
he played a lot
but he
yesterday.
played a lot and he was good.
Yeah.
He was in position. He was flying around, making tackles.
Henderson
That's
had a
what you
good
need.
game.
You got guys that are walk-ons. I mean, Reimer, those guys, they always have good games. I just love that defense, man.
Williams, number 90.
Yes.
That guy.
Yes.
2 weeks
I
in a
know.
row. My dad's like, who the hell is number 90?
So
I had to look it up.
my
I didn't know.
uncle Jim,
Mm-hmm.
who was named after, he refereed. He was an umpire in the Big 12.
Okay.
Years ago, but he runs the clock for Big 10 games, and he was doing the Iowa game last week. So we went to a Halloween party at his house on Friday, and we're sitting around the bonfire chatting, and he's like, "Oh man, they were throwing water. Minnesota had to have their players go like onto the field because people were throwing water bottles at them." Anyway,
Stay classy.
right. He said
Blame your 2 yards of offense.
he said, he knows a guy that was at Nebraska's practices all week, and he's like, they were just pounding the option all week.
Mhm.
They're going to be doing a lot of option. And we did, maybe not as much as I was thinking after he said that. But he said that Williams was on scout team, and Matt Rule runs the scout team.
Yes.
And he was like, Tony, you have they couldn't stop him. The offense couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
And they were like, he went to Tony and was like, he has to see the field.
Yeah.
Because he's that good. And that's pretty much how that played out.
Talk about, again, just another reason to love Matt Rule right now, early on in his tenure, is the fact that he runs and watches the scout team.
Mm-hmm.
He is looking for that next guy that is ready to play, also while taking care of and looking at the guys that are currently playing. He's not looking at just the now. He's looking at next year, the next year, the next year. He is looking at the future of Husker football, not the current state of Husker football or the past state of Husker football.
Right.
That doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
What matters is the now and the next. And I think that, again, you go to scout team, now you got Williams on the line. He is unstoppable. That guy is breaking through the line. And again, last week he had 1 or 2 sacks or a half sack last week. And I'm like, who the hell is number 90?
I know. I said the same thing.
Adam Carricker out there again? Like,
I know.
Can he come back and suit up?
You got Des Moines Adams out there or what?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was 98, but you know what I mean?
But again, like that was incredible. Like that's incredible. That is something that not a lot of coaches are paying that much attention to the scout team, or the head coach is not paying that much attention to the scout team and making those calls.
Well, that's how you develop, right? You need those guys that are you need to give those guys reps. What I also heard was that for the last couple of years, Harburg wasn't getting reps. And so he's
It
still
shows.
kind of playing catch up.
It
Like,
shows.
now, yeah, I mean, you need reps every year. I mean, I don't care if you're a fourth string quarterback.
Yeah.
You, especially for us, I mean, or anybody really.
When your number's called, you got to go in.
You got to know what you're doing. And if you don't have, and that's just what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not, but was that in years past with Frost?
High five for development. That's what we do. And we've been talking about development for a long time and the lack of development. So, yeah, Rule is, he definitely trusts Tony, and Tony White again, just phenomenal. I know. I was a bit out there with, up in the air, I should say, with 3-3-5 coming into the season. we talked about it, and I think what kind of turned me, again, I hate to admit it, but PJ Fleck, his comments on the 3-3-5. And we talked about it on our first show before the game and mentioned how it's hard to prepare for. He said it's really hard to prepare for because out of the 3-3-5, one time you're rushing 3, or it looks like you're going to rush 3, and then you're rushing 7. Or you have 5 or 6 on the line, and then you drop back 2, and now you're not rushing 6 or 7. So he's like,
or you only rush 3, and then you have no one to throw to.
Yeah, and so he's like, you can do so many different things in that 3-3-5 scheme that absolutely destroys your offense because you think you have a good play call, and then they drop back. It's like, I didn't see that coming.
They were showing some plays, Brock Heward or whatever it is that was calling the game yesterday. He was showing like, all right, there was like 8 guys up front, and the snap happened, and like this guy went this way, this guy went this way, and this, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, no one knows what's going on. The guys are going all over the place, and I think we ended up only rushing 3 and still got some pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, and good point, Kate. It's a 3-3-5, but it is definitely a adjusted hybrid style defense because you're right. Again, it's not a true 3-3-5, but I think it is some form of a 3-3-5 where he is just throwing so many different schemes. And give it up to all the guys that were not only here last year but the year before that are now getting used to this defense, and they're coming out and just dominating.
Well, and they figured it out pretty quick. Yeah. I mean,
and again,
3-3-5, sure. You might as well just call it an 11 because you really don't know what it is.
Yeah. But that's development. That is that's what you should do, is develop your players and get them up to speed quickly. And Tony White's done that. Donnie, welcome to the show. I know you're late. We talked about Sims. We talked about just about everything, man. You're going to have to listen to the podcast or rewatch the show because we're almost done. John, you love loving the fake to the follow. Back in the line, 2 yards. Linebackers are ready. Heads in the zone. Why not just run a real trap play? Fake and then follow the back end of the line for 2 yards. Oh, you're talking about, I'm guessing, the short yardage?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
No, I get what you're saying, John.
Yeah, I get it again. I think those trap plays on the line, I think right now it's just inexperience. We just don't have. You got to trust the guys up front, and I think we've shown a lot of those. We've shown trust because we've done it a lot.
Well, and
we've tried to do it a lot.
There's times,
but I agree. I do want those short plays to be those trap plays. We just
there's those plays where it's either a designed Harvard run, or it's kind of an RPO or whatever. But you kind of know, like Harvard kind of knows he's going to be the one that takes it. And I don't know if he hesitates or he just like doesn't run hard right away. He's one step behind, and so instead of getting 10 yards, he ends up getting 2 or 3 because of just one hesitation, one misstep, or whatever it is. Because I feel like there's times when I'm like, there it is, go. And then he misses it by just a split.
He's very indecisive.
Yes.
When he decides to go, he's hesitant as well because he already knows he made a late decision.
Yeah.
So he's not running as hard as he should because he's like, oh, shit, like it's not going to work. I already screwed this up. That's what I think is probably going through his head because he knows he's fast. He knows he can run through guys. He made a couple really good runs yesterday, especially that one on the first down when it got down to the 1 yard line.
Oh, yeah.
But he can do those things, but he's got to make that decision early. And he's not doing it. Donnie, real quick on Sims. So one thing we love about Sims is that he's a true leader on the sideline. He is someone that loves the players, loves the team, loves the coaches. Big Harburg guy too. So maybe not cut him, but he might not be here next year. We'll see.
Definitely don't put him under center or At shotgun.
Yep. Man, again, I could talk all day, guys. I really could.
I know.
There's so many
Same.
things we could talk about. It's been a lot of fun. Continue to put your comments on. We'll continue reading, but I think we're about to cut it off here. About an hour here. Sorry for the technical difficulties in the beginning. For those of you that were on the show in the very beginning, part of it was me. Part of it was I'm going to blame Jimmy on 70% of it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it was all me.
No.
It's my house, my basement.
Yeah, no, I think
No, we like to try new stuff. So
yeah, this has been fun, and we got a few things coming up. I will say for the Wisconsin game, we're going to be back at Baxman Brewing on the 18th of November, so we'll get more information coming out there. We have more again the merch, so sweatshirts, hats, phone cases, t-shirts. We got kid gear too. So check out our link on our Facebook. We've shared it a few times.
Sweatshirts are awesome because they're not like real thick. They're just kind of a nice thin.
They're super tight. They're not the heavy blend, so they're nice and light. The hats are awesome. We got a few different trucker hats that are super comfy. So check out the merch. It's just fun. If you guys don't want to purchase, that's fine. But we had a lot of people asking, hey, how do we get that t-shirt? How do we get a sweatshirt?
I mean, I don't have one now, but it's upstairs. But the tumblers.
Yeah, we got tumblers.
Nice.
We got wine tumblers. We got the big ones with the handles too. So kind of like a Stanley, if you like Stanley cups, which everyone likes. Not hockey gym.
Get a fanny pack.
Fanny pack. If you like
blanket, dude, I gotta get the blanket, man. That's my next. That's my next one
purchase. So, but appreciate all the support, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Great win yesterday. We're 5-3. We're going to a bowl this year. It's going to happen. And we could run the table, go 9-3, win the West.
We open as favorites on the road at Michigan State next week. And let's just keep it rolling.
Let's keep it rolling. All right. You got anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Fans, appreciate it. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I know the Cowboys are whooping up on the Rams, so
I haven't checked. I gotta keep up what's going on.
Go Big Red. Love you guys, and check out our YouTube page as well. Again, this is on YouTube, so we'll have everything on YouTube.
Donnie.
Get your swag, and look forward to seeing you guys here soon. we do need to get our kids to model, my kids to model. That'd be a lot of fun. But
actually, that's a good.
Hey, go Big Red. Have a great day,
Jimmy.
I'm Matt.
We'll see you next week.
We gotta do that again. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're 2 Average Guys.
We'll see you next week.
Damn.
Come on, good game, everybody, yeah.
Pat, I think it's safe to say that all these fans came out here to watch a game of football.
John, we're in commercial.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making conversation. Come on, football!
Come a-running, boys, don't you hear the noise? Like the thunder in the sky. How it rolls along in a good old song from the sons of Nebraska. Now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're about to win, and we're going to win today. In the days of old, Johnny Vanderbold would just take that ball in hand, and with Benedict right in front of him, they would set sail for the land. Then Doc Eager too, with a chosen